Okay, I think we're live on this. Let's try it out. Buffer. Welcome to our continuation of creating a nitrogen superhighway. Uh, we used to have all these nitrogen stations around here, and we were sending all the packaged nitrogen gas through on trains. Now that we can do it by trucks, we're going to do it. We already have the first half of it here, and the trucks here actually have proven quite effective. This one line is actually currently providing all the nitrogen we need for our central station, but we're going to continue on and put in the second half of the line in the same way that we planned, so we have more capacity for expansion. Oh, and I just discovered this recently. You really have to watch out. Trucks will push you around. It'll push you all the way back to the next base or next station or whatever. So bring up our map real quick. Our main base is here in the middle. All these things moving around here are trains, because we are planning to use every single resource on the map. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're moving along nicely. And currently the nitrogen superhighway goes from here up to our minerals base up here, back to here. What we want to do is where is it? Right, the refinery down in the southern end here also has nitrogen coming to it, so we want to extend our superhighway all the way through here. Probably, I don't know, this is an arch, probably under the arch here and over to here. Once we get the whole nitrogen superhighway built, then I've got to figure out what to do about making it look better. Right now it's cement, which is really bad when it rains. Sooner or later we'll figure out how to make it asphalt, but not now. Also, we need kind of edges to the road, because right now this looks really precarious. But cosmetics later, we're just going to get up and running. So, right, as I said, they're out to the north is the existing base. We're going to continue working up this direction. And this base, what I've been doing is we're creating as many coupons as possible, and then we are going up here. There's a trophy room we can go up later that has, I think, 4 golden nut statues in there, and we're collecting more. And look at that, we're even getting grain on the screen. So let's see here. Continuing on. Switch our little filter. We want oh, there is asphalt. Why did I miss that? I might have to go do the other half again with asphalt. But for right now, we're going to need to continue going up a little bit. Does that look? That is asphalt. Doesn't look like asphalt to me, but okay. Right. So we've got to make it over some of our infrastructure that's building components for our ballistic warp drives. I'm just doing this slowly so I can figure out what height we actually need here. One more, is that enough? One more after that. That's about right. If you're wondering why I'm building a highway straight through the middle of my base, the nitrogen was delivered to the center from the train, so there we are. Rather than rearrange everything, we are just having fun sending trucks straight through our entire base. So there, we're going to go, right, see, we could go out straight out that way, but that would be boring. So we're going to try to head out this direction, which actually means I have to try to put a turn in right, or should I go down and around? And I don't really want to cut off all these nice sections. I'll go straight for now. And actually probably will have to I don't know. I'll think about it when I get all the way down there, what looks the best. I don't want a ramp where it's just normal normal foundation. There it is. That's not the foundation I want. Asphalt, asphalt. Oh, this is asphalt. Okay, that's why. Right. We're gonna have to change those to asphalt here. Where to go? Asphalt foundation. Paint that all to there. Later we'll go back and we'll change the original part to asphalt, but at least here we have. We'll do it right from here on in and then go back and get it. That doesn't look like asphalt to me. It looks like grippy turf or something, but oh well. Moving along here, let's see here. We're just gonna go way on out through this whole place. Because who needs more hills? I'm going to end up setting the record here for world's highest highway that's built this way for no reason. That, and I'm really kind of worried that I'm going to have to, that my electrical grid doesn't actually go this high, and my hovering is going to turn out to be less hovering. But we'll see. Usually if I end up falling from this height, I can just catch myself. Actually, what's her? Our hover battery is doing just fine. It should be in good shape. Here, some more. Oh, we can have fun. We can go through that little notch there. Right. Yeah, see, there's actually... forget why actually we need to run all the way up there sometimes, but there's a ladder, an emergency ladder there. This base actually does have black start designed into it, so even if we lose power to this entire base, it can start up by running just a couple biofuel generators, which then launch the coal generators, which then launch the turbo fuel generators, which then fire up the pumps for the nuclear reactors, and then we end up producing more of the alien power units to amplify our nuclear reactors, and the whole thing eventually gets up and running. Takes hours to do. Most of the time I just reload. If it, I run this base a lot overnight, simply to get all those coupons. So if it loses power overnight, typically I just reload. But I did check it recently and fixed a couple miswirings that were in it, and there's enough fuses in all the right spots that it will actually black start again. To the left is, what is that production over there? That's super oscillators over there, which we don't seem to be producing many of. Might be a problem over there, but it's not Superhighway related, so we'll deal with it later. Either that or it's actually just full. Because as I was checking, I think most of this base is up and running at full capacity right now. The trick is going to be aiming this thing. Because out over there, right, if you can see, this is plastic and rubber production down here, and then out over there by the radar tower, that is the refinery that we're aiming at. But we can just And just head out this way. Actually, can we go down right in here? Yeah, we can step down a little bit while we're making it this direction. I wish I knew of a faster way to delete things, but I don't. Right, so now we need a ramp going down. I think we can make it a gentle decline here. I've got a really steep one on the way up to here, but let's see. Okay. Yeah, that's running. That's too far. Right about there. Oh, this one I want to run down the same amount. I think actually later we can go in. There's pieces we could put inverted ramps on the bottom side to make it look not so Minecrafty, but for now that's going to work fine. Back to our normal foundations. Head right across here. It's close enough that later, yeah, I can build something under that makes that look decent. I could continue to go down, but I don't need to match the train exactly. I always get rid of these things when I find them. It's my easy way of knowing I've been here. It's actually surprising some of that's still sticking around in the middle, but that's okay. Okay, so I've got to find where to go to aim, unless I want to go right along there. And we'll go all the way out to the poison stuff. I've got a dimensional portal that send all my gas filters in if I really needed it, but we're only going to get kind of close to this. Oops. Oh, there we go. That's what I was talking about. You know, this high up, I don't necessarily have electricity set up. Okay, so about that close to them, sure. And we should start continuing our descent because actually nitrogen, I think right now is right over there where we're going to deliver it. Actually, which is a good point. We need to head. We want to be heading more this way. It's actually useful for hover. What do you call these? Hover somethings. What do we actually call these? Hover packs. That makes sense. Hover packs, even when they lose power, you descend fairly slowly, which has saved my butt in a bunch of situations. Right, so if I go this way, yeah, and then I'm going to make a right turn when I hit those rocks. Along this way, about the right height. Yeah. Could go down a touch, I suppose, while we're doing this. Right down to there. Then straight up. No. Yeah, see that's what I was worried about. We'll just go straight across. It'll be less confusing too. Is that the part where it's still going straight? Yeah, those are just normal foundations. Alright, so continuing this along straight, we're going to have to move the electricity out of the way, otherwise that's going to look really horrible. And I'm coming in from here. Right, that's about as close as we want to get there. Oh, especially if we go in. Right, we're going to make it to there. That's going to be our edge, which means going on this side. And I'm using all-purpose routes, so in spots. especially around the turns. It's surprising, they need surprisingly wide turns. But we'll deal with that later, especially since I just noticed that isn't going to work flat. I'll just use normal found destinations a second to measure. Yeah, that's fine, okay. Back here. I think that was 1 meter up. So here. Obviously more than 1 meter up. What is that thing over there? 2 meters. I use delete all the time just to explore and figure out what things are. As long as you actually don't hit the right mouse button, which it turns out I've never actually once had a problem. You can actually do it and use the delete tool to trace conveyor and pipes and that sort of thing, because they light up just before you delete them, right? So you can actually use it as a highlighter. And just to make this all consistent, we're going to put a ramp here too. There. And then up this way and along. Apologies if you can hear the siren in the background. You know, people say that all the time, and everyone has mics that actually cancel that sort of thing out. So I've actually never heard a siren that someone apologized about. The dog, on the other hand, you will hear the dog on stream. Right now, she has decided to just sit and cuddle up next to me. But I think if you hear on the last stream, she was barking at something. Let's hope she doesn't do that too much while we're streaming. Okay. I'm not huge into cosmetics. This is more of a min-max build, but we can't have this going right through there. I do want it to go somewhere though, so here, this wire, and this is just power for hover packing wire here. It can go here. Can I make it go under, actually? I probably can. I'll stick it, yeah. I'll stick it right on the edge of the highway there. And then, where were we going? On up to here. Right. That's how I got up to, I'm pretty sure there was a summer slope up here, right? Would have been something like that. Also, apologies for the sniffles. I'll try to mute myself before I do anything horrible, but I do have a little bit of a... Right, so up over there, down here, and then we're going to make, let's see, nitrogen. Let me see where it is. Perhaps without actually falling, I need another of these things down into right about there so I can hover and look. Nitrogen is along this train line. So let me go find out where it is, so we have an exact aiming point. That's the rubber sorter right there. There's turbo fuel production. I think this would be nitrogen unpacking. No, that's turbo fuel packing. It's along here somewhere. It'd be, here's the nitric acid line, I think. So that would be getting nitrogen from, gosh, I don't know. Some of this needs to be reworked. Some of that turbo, oh, right. Okay, so this is turbo fuel and nitrogen, right? So there's the nitrogen bottles coming in from the train. We want to replace that, so we want to end up somewhere in this area so we don't have to reroute the nitrogen too much. probably going to come into, might be right next to there. Over here wouldn't be too bad. Just come on through and then turn around and we can make a station up here. That's not too bad. We'll aim for there. There's also, if you notice, some of this base is the boring original colors, and then I've started color coding spots of the base just so I can keep track of what's what. You'd be amazed at this scale how confusing things get. Or maybe it's just kind of not amazing. Just do a steep descent in here because we have a ways to go down now. Right, aiming for there. Oh, right, aiming for about there. Which means if I aim this way, take a look. Okay, if I'm going straight this way. Yeah, okay, I actually just want to get around the corner of this. I'm sure I'm going to have to extend parts of this. But I'm just trying to get too wide. It's actually wide enough for the path to go there and back. So we'll start with that, and then we can draw the truck route and figure out what we need to modify from there. But this is basically just a pilot route at this point. Well, coming on down this way. Okay. Okay, so we got to stay above the refinery stacks. About that high. That's probably cutting it too close. Right about there. We're going to end up, I think, probably having smoke bubble up under the highway. Right. We'll just kind of cook our trains in that area. They'll be slightly crispy by the time they get through, but that's fine. Okay, so those stacks are approximately at the same height, so I got to keep getting by them. And then right about here we can do a 45-degree turn. I wish there were actually parts to support 45-degree turns, but you just kind of have to fudge it and then hope you can put enough things in that it doesn't look too bad. I haven't figured out quite, and I haven't looked up on the forums if anyone's noticed. It seems to rain at my refinery more than it rains out towards the rest of the base, which makes sense because it's a desert out there. Rain came out in the latest version, and it was one of those things where at first it was like, oh, that'll be nice for 15 minutes. I actually really enjoy it, just periodically coming down. It's the same thing as whenever night happens, right? And you can see the base light up. This planet has beautiful auroras. Adds a nice little bit of scenery. Okay, so if I wanted to go there, this is where I'm going to have to do some aiming. Now there's tricks here. If we do that, then if you go on top, you can actually do this too. But is that just going to be fine, right, like that? Now, see, I want it to be on this edge. So what you can do, let me get on top of it where I can look at it. Gosh, can I look straight down? Is this going to give me good perspective? Right, because I want it to line up with the edge of there. That might be too close. That might be just right or running it too close. I'm going to say that's too close, and we're going to put one out here. what I'm trying to do is put a block in exactly the right spot that I can then build off of. But they do kind of snap somewhat. Because if I can put a block in the right spot, then I put the real blocks, yeah, right like that. And so then I can actually now it'll actually snap right. Because I can get rid of those. And I can put the highway surface we really want directly under this guy. Right? And it wouldn't actually allow us to normally put something there, but we can put something below another block. So that's the way to cheat and at least put turns in this way. And then we're not going to make this too pretty right now, just good enough that the trucks can get along on them. And then we'll might later clean it up a little bit. Right, see, so that's not horrible. A little bit of, if I do that there, and then here and there. Yeah, see, not bad. And then we're going to descend right into where we're going to put our station. So, how far out did we want the nitrogen? Right in there, so pretty much we'll dive down to whatever sane height we can find. Did I miss, or did I place this about right? Off by about half a tile, not bad. Slightly above or slightly below? I'll go slightly below. I try to at least somewhat have levels to these bases. It makes it a little easier to keep track of. Right, so now we just need foundation here. And it is, as I said, there's some surprisingly wide turns. So I think 4 should do it here. And then we're going to turn out around here. We're going to do 5 just in case. Because I want to actually do the stations this way. Right, so we're starting out with just one station, and I'm going to put it on just normal foundation. Come on. Just normal foundation to tell the difference of it for now. Fix the foundations, that one. I think they fit on 2x2s, something like that. So, put in our truck station. Can never find these things. Buffer stop train location, fluid platform. I'm sure you're all looking at. There it is, fluid truck station. So we kind of want to get the edge lined up about right. That looks good. Now it's time to go way over to the other side, and we're actually going to draw our truck route. Dum 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 dum. I should have taken the. I do have a hyper tube that goes from here to there. It was just down far enough that I didn't think about it. It didn't take that long. And I can actually take the shortcut through here. And we can check on this, just make sure this has all the stuff it needs. How's our super oscillators going? We're low on crystals, but it's backed up. We actually low on crystals, or did something? Yeah, we're low on crystals. Sorry about the snivel. Yeah, it's the red building below. That's for producing all our Christmas trees. It's out of season. It's early to midsummer when I'm recording this right now. So it's all been covered up inside of a red box. And I don't know, it might stay that way, but I didn't want all our Christmas tree parts just sitting around. I may cover other parts of this factory up inside of buildings later too. But yeah, at the right times of the year. Last year there was a large Christmas tree kind of right in this area that's overgrown. And so the Christmas tree might be up by our trophy room this year, something like that. I don't know. Depends what this base looks like in 6 months. Was that going to be in our way? No, that conveyor looks fine. Yeah, this extra line of rockets got built fairly recently. Looks like I need to do some work on that later. But for right now, that's looking good. That's looking good. That might need some work. Let's do our paths. So this is what I mean about the turns can be kind of wide. I really thought I was creating a path, right? I've never actually split one of these off before. We'll see how it works. Oh, except we need to go kind of up that way. So maybe if we come off there, vehicle collides with, okay. Yeah, it's really not gonna I didn't quite leave enough room for this, but we should be able to figure it out. Collides with train, turns too sharply, all sorts of things wrong with that. Yeah, I think the biggest problem is we're not going to be able to start going up that quickly. Unless I move some things around. Right, so this is going to need a little bit of a rebuild. If you see the red flashing on the compass, that's our fluid station that's not configured yet. It doesn't like the fact that it doesn't have a path. I don't really blame it. We'll change this back to asphalt. So if I build one in there, I want to get it to start going up as soon as possible to get around stuff like that hyper tube, which might need to get rebuilt anyway. But let's see. We'll try the path starting here. How early can I make this segment happen so that I can go and just get it edged off? I don't want the wheel to hit that too much, but turns too sharply, right. Oh, collides with train, moves too sharply, collides with train. Alright, we'll keep working on it till we find a path we can do on this that'll work, and then we'll move it from there. Right, so more space out this way, more space out that way. I really do have to work on this copper line. I moved it once, but obviously not enough. You can already see it goes under there. 3. A nice trick, if you've never tried it, is I just have a hotkey for, I think it's the level 3 conveyor belt, or the Mark 3 conveyor belt. And then depending on what conveyor belt I actually want, E just cycles through the parts. So I never actually use the Mark III as much anymore, because I've got pretty much enough dimensional portals to have parts for almost anything. But it's muscle memory by now for me to just hit 3 EEE means this one, 3 EE means the Mark V belt. Okay, so we've got copper pipe running right through a power tower. Cool, we'll fix that later. And I can't have that. That's just, yeah, okay, so let's take a look at our ramps and plan this out, see what we can do. Might be able to head more that way if we head up. So head this way, that's fine. It's that, I don't understand why I can't, maybe I just can't, I have to do another spot before I turn. See, it doesn't mind that. And then I could head up. Where's the, I can't find the seam. Why all of a sudden is it being a lot nicer to us? Maybe it's just where I picked on the curve. Right, okay. So it just doesn't like us doing it all in one part. Right, so that's fine. And then let's see if it'll allow us to start heading uphill. That path turned red because it doesn't like the fact that it doesn't have a foundation under it. Which, don't worry, we're fixing. I have to set asphalt, right, okay. So then if I go like that, okay, that's yellow, so that's all right. I have a feeling it's going to come up more over this direction. Let's see here. Can we go up this hill, or are you not going to like that? Collides with terrain. Well, yeah. How about going up the train? Probably can't come into it at an angle like that. Might have to do some modifications to the manufacturing in that area to get this through. I was expecting it to be a little more forgiving. Yes, because I don't want that. Which means I definitely want you to be going. It might have to come down a different ramp. But see what happens if I do this. Get rid of those 4 meters. Instead put them there. That should give me enough run up that I should be able to make it straight up. Oh, you're trying to go to way up there? Oh, and it's trying to go over the hypertube. That's not so good. What's wrong with this, though? Collides with terrain. Is there something under there you just don't like? Is that the problem? Are we too close to the assemblers? Or too close to manufacturing? That could really easily be it, since I'm packing stuff in here. Let's find out. Find that way. Fish around a little bit for this. Yeah, I think we're running too close to what's under it. Okay, so let's look at this and rethink this a little bit. I'm trying not to destroy what's under it there, but I think that manufacturer's going to need to go. Huh. Could this have turned sharper and I just didn't do it? Probably not. Or I would have. I don't like deleting existing parts of my base. I have very much a embrace the spaghetti base building strategy. There's all sorts of historical things down here. You can do archaeological digs into this base, including that train station right through there that got completely swallowed. That might be the first one, the first train station that was ever in this base. Okay, so that's not going to work. We can go up kind of out here and around. That might be better. Okay, so turning and going uphill was probably a little bit too ambitious. Or doing it all in one sweep. What if we started going uphill as late as here? Nope, don't like it. Let's see what it'll let us do if we do this. Oops. Transport stand. Path. Start right at the 45-degree angle or so. It's blue right. It was blue. Oh, yeah, sometimes they get spun around 180 degrees, which is annoying. We're doing better. This is working. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So that one can go away. This one can go away. Oh, except for... do we want to think about what do we do on the way back? Eventually, we're going to have to come down and go back through to there. Through there. So giving us a little bit more space for something coming back would actually help. So let's do that, rather than cutting the turn as closely as we possibly can. So that works out fine. And then we can start to ramp up this direction. Or no, we can't. Okay. Is this really only one wide that we can fit through here? I wasn't thinking about originally attempting to go through here. And see, I left this space here because I thought we were going to go that way. Yeah. When we can come back, we can come back more that way. We'll deal with that when we come back. For now, that's really too bad. Now I got to figure out whether I can fit manufacturer in there or whether I just use that as access space for something. That's not clipping by too much. I don't mind that. Right, okay. That I do mind right there. So we're going to go up to, say, there-ish. And then do they have half uphill ramps? They don't, but I think I can be sneaky there too. If I do, sometimes you just have to build scaffolding like that, and then I can get this ramp to click on to be right next to that guy. Sometimes if I get it right, come on. Right, okay, so see there, then I don't want to put it on. Oh, I do, so I can just put a foundation below it, build on it, and then get rid of the foundation. Right, so foundation up against that half one, build the ramp on top of here. There. I've just defied what the creators of the game limited us to do. I mean, not on purpose, right? But there's a certain amount of tricks you have to do to make some of these things work, just because there's only so many parts available. Okay, so we're going this way. We're just going to go around the turn here, over, and then back towards where we were originally planning to go. That's not too bad. I don't understand quite how. Oh, when I built the highway in coming this direction, probably wasn't quite straight. I think that comes all the way from that base. That mining base over there is probably slightly on a different angle than this base. But anyway, okay. Stop worrying too much about all those little tiny details, and let's get this highway built. So over to there, here. And then I'm not really planning to build anything there, so we can head this way. One more this way, and then this way to not run into things. Yep, okay. Is that 2 meter difference? Or 4? Okay, it's 4. And then I don't quite understand how we got half a tile off, but oh well. Let's see if we can get a truck route painted along this now. Oh, no, Q. transport, truck route, there. Right, this is the outside lane, right? Yeah, on the right. So we can go up to, as long as we make it to, every once in a while it just, you turn the mouse a little bit and it ends up turning a lot. That's about right. And then about to there. We want to be heading straight this way. Right about to there, that works. Cool. And then we're going to be turning around this way. There. The yellow just means I'm clipping with something, which, all right, there's tons of stuff under that, so yeah. Now if we can straighten out the line somewhere like there, that'd be great. Why did I get so close to that edge? I'm going to take a look at this. I want it to be going straight across. There we are. That's better. About there, we'll start making our turn. We still want to be on the right-hand side. So there, that's great. Then we have a long straightaway. So we can turn back to being there. You can hold down control and then it goes straight. Control does funny things. Sometimes it works really well. Sometimes it does horrible things, especially when trying to place things. When you're working in 2 dimensions, it works really well. When you're working in 3 dimensions, not always quite so much. And anyway, we got a pretty straightforward path here. I have no idea why that's yellow. There must be another reason why that might go yellow, because that is definitely not hitting anything. Oops, I don't know what key that was. Here. Through to there. Did I just go slightly outwards? Yes. I don't like that. Aim pretty much straight right down the middle of these foundations here to there. On there. On to there. I think I'm getting pretty good at aiming these turns. I go to about there. Right. That's just about where I want it, yeah. to there. Head off this way. Oh, right. We're going to have to put the other lane in because there's not enough room there to make the turn. Oh, and we'll see if it's a problem going slightly up while we're going around the turn. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think we just got into that one issue there on the end because we were trying to go basically make kind of a Z shape around that. Turns too sharply. I'm just coming in from that too close. Right. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Straight this way. Along through here. Did I not hit the center? No, I think I pretty much did. Let's do a little bit. Yeah, if you just turn left and right with your mouse, it'll align to whatever the boundary is there. So right about here, and then around this turn and down this way to there, and then we want to swing it. See, sometimes it just decides to make a huge turn on its own. If we swing out to here, then we'll have an easier turn radius here. Or I thought it'd be easier. It's not liking the angle that I'm going out at. Right, the real trick is there. Ah, much better, right. And then there. And by the time we get to this point, we'll straighten it completely out again. Gosh, how much further do you have to go? Not very far. Phew. There, around this turn to there. Doesn't seem like to end. It doesn't seem to like to end routes right at the corner of a slope, which is easy to avoid if you know it wants that. Right, so we want to come in here, and let me just quick look here to see how much we're off by as far as space goes. Oh, turns too sharply. Right, okay, so we gotta kind of... A lot of times it's much easier to build these things backwards, for whatever reason. And will give us plenty of path for now. Well, half foundation. Something like that. Oh, it's going to go underneath the other one anyway, so we can do whole foundations there. So if we make plenty of room there to turn wide, then this path can go out is there something under there that's the issue? I don't think there's anything that really close to being under there. Let me go look. What's down there? Yeah, see, nothing really. Unless it's... might be getting into the boxes of those. Gosh, but it lets me put one right there. Might need to turn those into half foundations there. Right, see, that's fine. Wish it would highlight what box it actually thinks is the problem. Well, I guess it is, but which box is it? Because one would, I mean, that to me looks absolutely fine. Oh, that's the turns too sharply part. Right. That's the train part I don't get, is this stuff. Yeah, it is. There, okay. So we can get to there. Then can we get around? Not quite. Sorry. Fingers got off by a little bit. Yeah, see, what train does it think is there that it's going straight up and over? Must be that thing right there. Am I allowed to at least just still have conveyors there? I have to clean that up a little bit. I just first want to get this truck route done. Yeah, see, it's getting confused by that, or it doesn't like what I'm doing there. I think the real trick is this truck station needs to move down. After I struggled with all that, it took me that long to figure that out. And I want this just to be 6. Let me just put these back in. That. That's where control actually works fairly well. There. And there. We can daisy chain power, which is so much nicer now. That isn't actually connected up the way it looks like it is. Right along there, smart. Why are you not going? Am I being dumb or what? Oh, you know what? This has 2 parts to it, or 3 parts to it, which you might not like. Let's make one conveyor there. Ah, now the splitter's the right color. Right, so we can go back and put a smelter right in here. Apologies for the slight break in the nitrogen highway. It'll just bug me forever if there isn't a smelter right about here. There. There. So much better. There. Copy recipe, paste recipe. Merger on this side. Conveyor belt going out. I thought I just gave you power. Oh. How did the next one not connect either? I'm gonna just watch this stuff a second, make sure it's producing. Yeah, okay. That's all fixed. We'll move our truck station over so it's not trying to make such a difficult turn. Come on. Right there. And tell me this is just going to snap right in. Of course not. Oh, it still turns too sharply, but well, as I say, doing this backwards usually works a lot better. There we go. That's what we're talking about. It almost seems like you can have the same path and once you wander in the range where it won't work, it doesn't turn back on quite so easily, but then you can redraw the same thing and it almost works. Right. We'll just go and delete this one and should be able to connect up to there fairly easily. I really need to make a toolbar for some of this stuff, but I'm so used to just hitting Q. That's our train again. I can live with going to there. And yeah, it really, you can't build right at the corners. It just doesn't work. You have to go like there, and then make a quick little spot over the edge there. Yeah, see, and that's almost too close to the rise there to work too. These paths might need a slight little update. Oh, okay. Oh, am I doing two different directions? No wonder they don't match up. Right, so out to there. To there. Finally. Got it to there. And then I'm just going to draw the outbound and turn it around. Oh, this needs power. For right now, what power circuit am I going to put on? And I'd really like it on, yeah. Really like it on the main feed there. That way, if it goes straight into this main feed when the rest of the circuits trip and all this production turns off, the trains will stay on to keep our supply moving. So now if I go and we're just going to build a bunch of foundation to have room to figure out what our turnaround radius looks like. And then just delete the extra stuff. Around like that. Oh, that's not going to be bad at all. The only problem is, can I turn this way and then still make it back enough to go up the hill? There. Oh yeah. Because then I just want to get to there, which is then going to head up to, and I'm going to make sure it goes to there and on back. Right, so we didn't need this whole line here. Delete that out, leave that there, leave it, delete it, leave it, delete it maybe. How about this? And we'll just put in half foundations to fill in a little bit of this, these corners. There, there, there. I wish there were little quarter blocks I could use, but I can use the clipping trick later to fix some of that. Yeah, this whole one's not needed, that one's not needed. I can put halves in to support that. Right, just like that. Get rid of that. There. And then I can name the station. Do I call them nitrogen refinery or refinery nitrogen? What was it doing? I think I called the other one nitrogen mineral. And that's going to load, and we'll put fuel in there later. And it took far longer than I was expecting just to build it out that far. So we're going to have a Superhighway live feed part 3 to get through the rest of it. We'll draw the conveyor, we'll draw the route all the way back, which should be pretty fast, and get the truck routes going. And then maybe even I don't know, put up some sides or whatever to make this look a little nicer. So thank you all for tuning in. I will see you later.